The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we have encouraged you all along to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors because Howard Insurance, well, actually, it's independent insurance agent Rudy Howard, now presents the African American scene on WPSL. In fact, he's ready to roll right now. Good evening, Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Oh, Cliff, you made a little trip to the past, huh? Howard Insurance.
Almost.
That's okay. Okay, that's
Well,
normal.
we've got a first ever though going on. A first
Yeah.
time
Well,
something has ever happened, right?
yeah. Listen, I'm going to get to the topic of the day because I know some of you may be eager to talk about it. First, let me say congratulations to FAU and the University of Miami. You did us all proud, making it to the Final Four. I thought Connecticut was a beast, and that was going to be a tough one to get by, and they proved to be. But you did us proud, and it looks like you got enough good players to make another run next year. So before we get into the topic of the day, Donald Trump's indictment, I want to share some words with you. I think it's time that we have a little honesty with ourselves. Here it is. Barack Obama scared the hell out of many of you. Since his two-term election, the GOP has undertaken a subversive plan to gain full control to prevent that from ever happening again. Now, I want to make it very clear, these are the words of Rudy Howard, not the words of WPSL. You simply did not like seeing that Black man in the White House. Not all white people, but a sizable portion. I recognize some of you will call after this show and demand they put me off the air. But it's time for some truth-telling. And you talk about the travails of Donald Trump, but I want you to think about this. This are some of the things Barack Obama had to go through. They demanded his birth certificate, the first president in the history of the United States, where they demanded his birth certificate. They called him a liar in the congressional chamber, which is a break on normal decorum for a president providing a speech. They sent a letter to Iran from Congress telling them his peace accord will be ignored. Members of Congress would not return his phone calls. Invited Netanyahu to speak in Congress with no notice to the president. The governor of Arizona famously points her finger in his face. And here's what you got from Barack Obama. The assassination of Osama bin Laden, a healthcare program that has given millions and millions of people health care for the first time. Zero administrative indictments. Okay, now I hear that is again. Zero. And you want to think it's media bias, but it's not media bias, because I listened to some of the people that are in his that were in his administration, and he set a tone. Although he's not very demonstrative, and you might not think of him in such a manner, he set a tone when you came into his administration on your behavior and your ethics. And if anybody violated that, he kicked them out. He got a Iran peace accord. Now, whether you agree with it or not, it was a significant accomplishment. He got a environmental agreement as well. He was not a far left liberal. He was a certified moderate who had a great deal of discipline and self-control, much more so than I would have had in his same position. He endured and took stuff from people he should not have had to take. In no way did he display animus to white people. Zero animus to white people. And again, let me remind you, his mother was white. You were deeply concerned about the demographic change that has taken place. And that troubles you. If you would take the time to look to examine political leadership by people of color, by and large, you will find that they are moderates. There's some extremes, just like there's some extremes in the Republican Party. But by and large, people of color are moderates. They're not extremists. But you're told to believe that is who we are. And I expect that some of you may want to call in and challenge me. Their phone number is 340-1590. Now, here's what you got with Trump. He's twice impeached. He did not divest himself of his business interests. From my understanding, the first president not willing to do so. There's 3,700 conflicts of interest that have been documented. He's now indicted. He is responsible for getting us the COVID vaccine. He lied about the outcome of the election. And currently, he has 4 more, I want you to hear this, 4 more cases pending. The classified documents issue, the Georgia election issue, a rape case by Jean Carroll against him for defamation of character claim, the January 6th incitement issue that's still pending, he gave a large tax cut to the rich. There were 215 indictments in his administration. I want you to hear that, 215 versus Barack Obama's 0. There is more, but I thought that would be overkill to point out the rest of them. But here's the point. Would you please tell me why you would give this man your money? I hear him bragging about all the millions of dollars he's raised. Why? Lord have mercy. Please tell me why you would give this man your money. There you have it. That's Rudy Howard's truth serum for the night. And if you have a problem with anything I said and you wish to challenge me, please feel free. 340-1590. That's 340-1590. But there you have it. My statement of the current state of affairs with respects to Donald Trump. Now, some of you will try to come up with excuses for why he is indicted. But the plain, simple fact is the man is crooked. He will now go down in history as the only president to be twice impeached. Now he will go down in history as the first president to be indicted. And you all still want to support him. But I have news for you. The day that this country is going to be non-white is upon us. It's coming fast. And in fact, I think the last I saw, 18 and under, the majority is non-white today. So it is inevitable. It's coming at you like a speeding train. And you really have nothing to fear. I just wish you'd stop and think. There's no fear. There should be no fear. Look at who some of the past leadership has been. And some of the leadership now. Hakeem Jeffries is not a wild-eyed liberal. Hakeem Jeffries is a thoughtful, intelligent person with progressive values. And progressive values do not make you evil. It does not make you evil. And basic Republican philosophy does not make you evil. Supporting Donald Trump, I don't understand, and I wish you would help me understand that, but that does not make you evil either. But we have to figure out how, as we have in the past, sit at a table and talk to each other. And we are not going away. And I think one of the things that we have to do is accept who we are. Eddie Glaude Jr. a Princeton professor who is an amazing, intelligent human being who wrote a book, Begin Again, which I read, which is a celebration. Name escapes me. But what he says is, what is happening is a reflection of our character that we refuse to accept is our character. And what I would tell you to really get a grasp of things, to understand who we are, and I keep saying this over and over and over again, find somebody who is not like you and have them go to lunch or dinner or play around a golf or go do something together and get to know that person. And I assure you, when that happens, you will have a better understanding, because some of your understanding is built on ignorance and a lack of knowledge. And I strongly believe knowledge is very important, which is why I read so many things. I'm always reading things coming up to the show to prepare for the show. Let me get into a second thing. Again, the number is 340-1590. This Dominion lawsuit, I seem to talk about this every week because I think it is a colossal issue, and it will go down as one of the more important issues in our lifetime. So what is that issue with this Dominion lawsuit? Number one, is the media allowed to lie to its audience? That's one of the main issues in this Dominion lawsuit. While it is a lawsuit of Dominion against Fox, it is about that issue. Is the media allowed to lie to its audience? They were lying about Dominion equipment, which clearly caused some financial injury to Dominion and its inability to secure additional contracts due to some allegations that they were insecure and people were able to flip votes using those machines. Is lying free speech? That's another one. And media traditionally has given a very wide berth when it comes to what they say on air or in print media, so as to afford them the rights that are granted as free speech. Did did Fox go over the line? They have documented for us statements that members of Fox and their team were aware that Trump had lost the election, but they continued to allow people to foment a lie on Fox that the election was stolen. And here's the issue for me. I am willing to say, and again, this is Rudy, not WPSL, that Fox is a principal participant in creating an environment where the insurrection took place. Because there's some hardcore Fox viewers who view nothing but Fox. And those viewers, as we are finding out now, were manipulated by hosts who portray themselves as news people, but are really pundits for the Republican Party. And you want to say that CNN and MSNBC are dishonest. There's no indication or no legal allegations against MSNBC for things that they've said. And I think for the most part, MSNBC has cleaned their own house when they found somebody that was too extreme or was not following principles set forth by MSNBC. And we got Jay on the line. How are you, my friend?
Okay, Rudy, I appreciate you letting me talk to you and to your listeners. You were just talking about Obama, running down what he had to deal with as president. And I was just thinking about, as you were talking, I was thinking about one thing that really, that I think he made a mistake. And I think, he was always, trying to be very cautious because he knew what was going on. He was the first African American that was ever, that held that position as president of the United States. And so he walked on eggshells most of his 8 years. He walked on eggshells. But the thing that really got me, that I thought he made a mistake that he should have not backed down on, was Syria. When Syria was bombing and poisoning their own people with those poison bombs, and he said that was they crossed the line. That was his, that was the last straw, or whatever. Whatever. He didn't do anything about it. And when you don't do anything about something that you say, your word is what you say, the enemy take as weakness. Just like what's happening what's happening now in Ukraine and all of that. You see Biden. Biden has not backed down on Putin or anybody, any of those autocrats or any of those folks. He's right there, and he's going to stay. He's going to stick with it, and you can see what's going on over there. But that was just as you were talking, that was the only thing I can think of that kind of disappointed me with him, because I learned a lot when I was in the military. I really wasn't I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going before I was drafted. But when I got in, I just made the best of it, and I learned how to be a leader. I learned that words matter. I learned that when you say something, make sure you live by you do it. And people respect you when you live up to what you say you're going to do. And if you don't do it, then they take advantage of you. And that's life. That's human nature. You can see what's going on now with Trump. There was so much stuff going on with him that he got to this point. He should have been in jail a long time ago. But, they let him off the hook. You had 2 impeachments. He just keeps going on and on. He thinks that he's untouchable. And you saw what happened to the mafia leader who thought he was untouchable right there in New York. So nobody is exempt from breaking the law or abusing people or human beings, and especially citizens that you're supposed to be, respecting and in charge of. But that's just my thing. I just happened to just wanted to bring that out to the folks. You got to live by your word. You got to take the bull by the horns, and people will respect you when you live up to what you say you're going to do. If you don't, they disrespect. They don't care about you. They just think that you're just blowing smoke and you're not really for real. Thanks a lot.
Well, I say that I agree with you. I think that is problematic. he said they crossed the red line and then did not respond. I totally agree with you. But I will share with you my biggest disappointment. His unwillingness to engage a fight about that Supreme Court nominee.
Right.
I felt he should have taken that to the mat. But he was so busy trying to be diplomatic and to try to play nice by the rules. And I am certain, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we already saw what they did when they had the same circumstance. They didn't wait. They went ahead and put that nominee in there, and he should have fought that tooth and nail. And his unwillingness to have that fight, I make him partially responsible for the situation we have today in the Supreme Court, because one of those nominations was his, and the other nomination that Biden just made would have created a balance in the Supreme Court.
Right, I forgot about that. That was very important, very crucial. You're right.
Yeah, it
I want to
was.
say one more thing, Rudy, before I hang up.
Yeah.
My commander in chief when I was in the service, when I was drafted, was JFK. And JFK to me was like he gave, in other words, it was like a model for things, for how I conducted myself. When he had that meeting with Khrushchev, he gave him the ultimatum. He didn't hit around, or he didn't play games with him. He said it was going to be one or the other. He had missiles over there. He said we had things right there in Europe. In Turkey, we had we had our missiles pointed right at him, and it said it was right there in your backyard. So he said, whatever you want to do, if you don't take the missiles out of Cuba, you know what's happening. And I'm just giving you that ultimatum right now. So we can have peace or we can have war, whichever way you want. And he gave me the ultimatum. And that, to me, every president should have a backbone like that when it comes to, people that try to intimidate the United States. When it comes, just like what China's trying to do now. But anyway, that's just my little take on life. And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for calling.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to take a little break here. And again, that phone number is 340-1590. If you want to challenge any of the things that I said, I welcome your call to challenge me. Again, 340-1590. We're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
WPTV's First Alert Weather on WPSL is brought to you by Seacoast Air Conditioning. Family owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1982. Online at seacoastair.com. Now with a look at our forecast.
Look for very little day-to-day change in our weather here along the Treasure Coast from tonight right through Friday, with partly cloudy, breezy, very warm weather continuing. Overnight lows near 70. Highs the next couple of days in the middle 80s. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Johan Herard with the rest of your forecast. Showers and thunderstorms developing by later Saturday, with a good chance for showers and storms just about any time on Easter Sunday. That wet and stormy pattern could continue into early next week. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist John Gerard for WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Living in Florida is paradise until your AC breaks down.
Comfort crisis, don't roast, call Seacoast.
Hi, this is Rudy Howard, your independent insurance agent. I now specialize in Medicare, health insurance, and small group insurance. That number is 475-8856. Same great service, more flexible hours. Just give me a call, 475-8856.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to the African American scene. Once again, here's your host, Rudy Howard.
As I was getting ready for the show this week, I was preparing to have a discussion about the power of media. But this Trump indictment came up and it kind of pushed me in another direction. And I really wanted to talk about it. And I got some things off my chest that were sitting there. But, you know, I am concerned, and you should be too, that some of our problem is the media and social media. Just think back to when our evening news was Walter Cronkite or Huntley and Brinkley, and they presented the news. They didn't present opinions. They gave you the news and you digested that, and you then decided for yourself about that issue of the day. Now we have pundits like Tucker Carlson, who I will admit I absolutely cannot stand because I know he's such a liar. And that is blasted out, and he has one of the biggest followings on cable news. And he's not even a news person, he's a pundit. But that's power. And for those of you that don't think that's power, think about your kids when they get old enough to absorb the world around them. One of the first things they want to do is go to McDonald's. Okay? Why do you think they want to go to McDonald's? Because they have been bombarded on TV with messages about McDonald's, and that thought is put right in their mind. Don't you agree with that, Cliff?
Oh, yeah. We fully understand how that works in the advertising business.
Yeah.
Because you have to make your product desirable, and they can do that with McDonald's, really. You say Happy Meal, and the kids get happy.
Right.
But what I don't understand what they let happen nowadays is they let the kids know what the prize is in there. See, Cracker Jack had the candy coated
Yes.
corn peanuts and a prize. You never knew what it was going to be. It might be a secret decoder ring or something, but
Yeah.
you know at McDonald's what their Happy Meal presents are going to be, and I don't know. That's kind of not fair. Then the kids can get real demanding. You know, they're pretty demanding these days.
Yeah. Yeah. I use that as a point so that people can really understand the awesome power of the media. I would tell you that this barrage of conspiracy theories that we're hit with on a regular basis are largely a byproduct of social media. And on social media, there is no rules yet that I'm aware of that what you say has to be true. They are trying to curtail hateful speech on social media, but otherwise you can say the most bizarre things that are not true, and if they get enough circulation, people will believe it. If you don't think that happens, and it could be happening to you, just think about the statement that Bush made about 9/11. They had you convinced that Saddam had something to do with 9/11, and he didn't. there was no Iraqis involved in that. And there's people right now listening to me that still believe that he had something to do with 9/11, and he had nothing to do with it. But it was the media that was propelling this information at you so that it could justify his attack on Iraq. But the media allowed him to get public opinion in order to do that. And what I'm trying to tell you now is Donald Trump is manipulating you like little puppets to believe things that are just not true. He is not being persecuted. He has not undergone insults worse than any president. And I have just told you already the things that President Obama had to endure. He had nothing even close to that. But you're being manipulated. He raised, I heard earlier today, that he's now up to $12 million. That's unbelievable. $12 million. Since his indictment, people want this billionaire, they want to help him pay his legal bills. How would you like to have 10% of his legal bills as your income? I would say most of us would be able to retire just on 10%. I ain't even asking for 50%. If we had 10% of the money he's spending on legal bills alone, most of us would be able to retire, because the money he's spending in legal bills is in the millions at this point, between all the lawsuits and all the jurisdictions and all the venues in which he has lawyers. He is spending an enormous amount of money. And you're giving him money? Oh my God. I can't believe you are giving this man money. He is a primetime grifter. And I know some level-headed Republican people that I'm sure have not fallen into that trap of giving him money. Again, that number is 340-1590, 340-1590. So I want you to consider that you have been manipulated. Just like a McDonald's commercial. You know, you think about, they talk every year about how much an ad costs for the Super Bowl. I think this year was a record. It was like $9 million for 60 seconds, Cliff, something like that.
Oh, I don't even look at the prices. I'm a little appalled over the NFL ticket prices nowadays. I'm out of that region.
Yeah.
Most of us are. Of course.
Yes, for sure. But they spend that amount of money because they think the media will provide a significant boost to their products or services that they're promoting. And research has shown that it does provide a boost to people who spend the money to provide an ad during the Super Bowl. So what's my point? My point is you're being manipulated. You're being manipulated into believing that Democrats are evil. and that Republicans are righteous. That's a manipulation. And you have fallen right into it. That number again is 340-1590, 340-1590. You have fallen right into the sphere they were trying to put you in. Get out of it. Keep your views. Nobody wants to deprive you of your views, because I've said this a million times, and so let me say it again. I think America is at its very best when you confuse the views of the left and the right and come to a solution. That's when we are at our best. And we used to be able to do that, but we can't do that now. And I'm telling you, this is Rudy Howard telling you for sure. The reason we can't do it is the manipulation of the media that has told you that I am evil. Look at me if you are looking on the video. I don't have horns. I don't have horns.
And I can testify to that. I'm looking at him right now. There are no horns on Rudy Howard's head or anything. Maybe his car has one that goes beep beep, but no, none of the traditional the horns that are believed to be on an evil one. You know,
Yeah.
Rudy's not the evil one. Sorry to
Yeah.
disappoint you. And then you're too scared to call because you think he's the evil one. And shame on you. Where is your faith, friend?
I think, Cliff, to be honest with you, because there's been a consistent lack of calls here recently, I think there has been a move by some conservatives that have said to boycott my show in terms of making phone calls.
Well,
You can listen, but don't call, because we don't want.
So they're obeying somebody who's telling them what to think, what to do.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
The manipulation. Yeah, lots of manipulation out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my belief, because I've been doing the show for years, and on occasion I get where people don't call, but for the most part, there's always some callers that have an opposing point of view.
See, the problem with what you might think about Rudy Howard is ignoring him will not make him go away. He's here to stay, friends, whether you like it or not. I mean, the freedom of speech is that anybody who wants to do a radio show and come in and talk stuff, you gotta be able to sponsor it. Now Rudy's got a great method that he's an independent insurance agent, and he sells a lot of insurance. I think he does pretty good. He does a whole lot better than you do, probably. That might be part of the problem too. Jealousy is always a big green monster out there.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My pastor delivered a sermon this past Sunday, and one of the things that he said is that as Christians, we need to celebrate other people's achievements, not talk down about those achievements, but celebrate the achievements of people who have reached success that may be higher than yours. And I want to say that I'm really comfortable in saying that I am one of those that do not look down on somebody that has achieved some success that I haven't achieved. I, in fact, think that I look up to somebody, and there we have it. And we got Frank on line one. Yes, Frank.
Hello, Rudy. I wanted to put together a quick explanation of why millions and millions of people will give money to and vote for Donald Trump again in 2024. And it's basically the platform of the woke agenda is white male privilege and everything that they associate with that is an assault on millions and millions of regular, ordinary, everyday American white people by the left, the authoritarians, the liberals, and the people of color. We are the new minority. Because as you just said, there's more of liberals and people of color than of white males. And we're the victim of all the assault from the left and from the authoritarian media and the bureaucracy. We're the basket of deplorables that Hillary talked about in 2016. And here's the thing.
Well, I'm so glad you called, Frank.
Against us, and Trump is in the way. We see, and millions of people see Trump as the only person that will fight for them. Because obviously, when we listen to you speak on your radio show, I'm a regular white guy here, and it seems like I'm the cause of everything wrong with this country. If I listen to you word for word and repeat everything you described, I'm the cause of all our trouble. If I went away, everything would be fine. If I listened to you word for word. That's why you have so much support, and it's only going to get stronger. Actually, Elon Musk predicted if this happened, Trump would win in a landslide next year, because even disinterested people would be outraged.
Okay, well, let me ask you, what is the outrage regarding Trump?
I'm not outraged. I support him.
Okay, all right. So you support him because as a white man, you feel put upon because there seems to be an agenda that is not accepting of your whiteness.
I'm being attacked from the left, from the right, from the middle.
Please tell me how you're being attacked.
Oh gosh, we don't have enough time. Just the way I used to be able to just walk out in the street and just do things. Now people look at me different. The same people I used to deal with 5, 10 years ago, they look at me different, and that's the mood of the country. That's a fact.
I'm not sure that I agree with that, but I certainly respect you. I respect your opinion. But I think largely the mood of the country, Frank, has changed because it allowed some unsavory elements that had been down beneath the surface to emerge and become a central part of what is going on in this society. And I think that has caused
associated that with what they call white male privilege. They're talking about me. And I didn't do it.
You know what? I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. And you know, wait. No, let me say something to you. I am so glad you called. I am so glad you called. No, you didn't do it. Let's make that very clear. Okay. No, you didn't do it. No, I don't think you did it. But here's what I want to say to you, which is so difficult for me to get through for people with your mindset. You didn't do it, but you had some benefits that accrued to you that were not available to Black and brown people. That's a fact. Let me just give you, wait, Frank, give me just a second. Let me just give you a second, Frank. Here's an example. Housing. After World War II, when they had the GI Bill for those that had served in the military to buy houses, and which was kind of a boost to the economy, that allowance was for white GI, and it was supposed to be for all GIs. So as a result, later on, they had to pass the Fair Housing Amendment, which prohibited discrimination and allowed Black people to get into the game of owning housing. But here's the point. During that period of time, generational wealth was created by those that were able to get into the game, and Black and brown people were not in the game. Did you do that? No, you didn't do that. I don't hold you responsible for that, but the fact of the matter is, we were injured by that. The home is creating generational wealth, and Black and brown people were not afforded the same opportunity. Can you see that, Frank?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't blame that on you, but that's a fact that happened.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the more militant of the authoritarians and the media, people that you're trying to support and trying to CNN and MSNBC, I would not be, I'd not be giving them a pass because everything that they say that's not true, Rudy, come on, just that'd be a topic for another show. I'm not here to defend Fox. I'm just saying there's millions of people that feel that they're being singled out, and the only person that speaks to them is Trump. That's it. That's all they hear.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate your point of view. I actually think that your insight is what I have believed all along. And I talked about that at the start of the show, that I think the support of Trump comes from a fear of losing control and the change in demographics. Do you think that has something to do with it, Frank?
Oh, no question. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ed. Racism is a horrible thing, and now that I'm suffering it, I don't like it.
Well, Frank, I thank you so much for calling, but we're at the end. Keep listening and
Rudy,
give me a call again next week. But I'd like to thank all of my listeners for tuning in to the African American scene. God bless and have a wonderful Easter with your family or friends. And I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American scene.
The African American scene with independent insurance agent Rudy Howard every Wednesday evening, 6:05 p.m. on WPSL Port St. Lucie, Digital 1590. It's one of the many reasons why WPSL is the talk of the Treasure Coast. And the time right now is 7 o'clock.